Okay, so if you are new here, my name is Shreesi. You can call me Cher, and this is the Style and Stewardship channel. So many things that we are doing when it comes to our wellness and when it comes to our health, we're making a lot harder on ourselves. And today I want to talk about something that a lot of us are doing because we've heard that it's the right thing to do or the healthy thing to do. But many times we are actually ignoring what the body is saying that it actually needs. And I say actually a lot because I think it's really important that there is what sounds good and what's actually good, and they're not actually the same thing. Okay, that's the last time that I'm going to say that. When we are thinking about and considering what's healthy for our body, what the body needs, and what makes us feel good, a lot of times we will depend or will determine that by what people are saying. So there are a lot of voices out here. I'm one of them, and I hope that I can be one that points you to the facts as it pertains to how you feel in your body, because what the old adage is, what can be one man's food can be another man's poison. I can personally relate to this because I have a lot of allergies and I have histamine intolerance, and there are different things that I have dealt with over the years, over the course of the last 2 decades, really, of when it comes to figuring out what it meant for me to be healthy. One of the biggest game changers for you, for me, for anyone approaching their wellness is going to be considering the unique life and body that you have. Because if something is quote unquote healthy, it doesn't mean that that's going to be something that's going to be supportive to you, especially considering what season you may be in. So, take, for example, a woman who is pregnant or a woman who is nursing, and she or someone who has just come out of surgery. There, these are what we would call seasons of someone's life, whether it's something that they've gone through physically, or if it's something that they have on the health horizon. Maybe there's something that runs in their families that they want to avoid, or they want to be considerate of as they're making health determinations as far as what's going to work for them and what they should be eating nutritionally. And then you say you have someone who just does not know where to start. We're all in a different season when it comes to our wellness. So you have to keep that in mind whenever you are trying to sift through the just myriads and myriads of different things that people are putting out, whether it's on the interwebs, whether it's on a podcast, whether it's on a YouTube channel. You want to, or social media, you want to take all this information and you want to put it through the filter of your life. Let's start with this. It's really, really, it sounds obvious, but it's really not. Say you're someone who struggles with a lot of gut function issues, or you're someone who is struggling with a lot of acne, or someone who's struggling with just different things in your health and your wellness. The very place that you should start is going to look very different from someone who just came out of surgery and whose body needs to heal, who's about to go into, PT, and they're just trying to strengthen a muscle that maybe they just had, I don't know, cut into, or they just had surgically repaired or altered in some way. It's going to look very different from a mom who is postpartum and is nursing a small child. It's going to look different than someone who is working these crazy hours and they're in a salaried position, but they basically take no time off and they're constantly at work. And even when they're not at work, work is with them, whether it's on their phone or they're constantly getting pings and dings, even on what should be their time off. Their stress level is going to be different. So when we're considering our health and wellness, we have to take all of these things into consideration. If you are if you're not really cognizant of where you are first, that would be the place that I would encourage anyone to start. So when someone's like, oh, how can I, become healthy? We have to figure out where you are first. If we don't know where you are first, it's like shooting in the dark. We have no idea. We have no target to aim at. We're just blindlessly just going out here and doing whatever. And that can be a lot more harmful than not. So first, considering where you are starting from. What are your unique challenges? What are some of the things that are going on in this particular season of life for you that you really need to be that needs to be at the forefront of your decision making when it comes to where do I start. So before we start with where do I start, let's begin with what do I start with? What am I currently starting with? Are there some underlying health challenges that you have right now? Are there some things that you know lifestyle you need to begin to approach? So are you getting sleep at night? Sometimes people are having gut issues or gut dysfunction, or they're having issues with their stress levels and their hormone production, which, throws a lot of other things off because it's a cascade in the body that tells other body parts and organs what to do. It also affects our digestion. So if you're someone who's not getting enough sleep, let's start there. These are things that anyone beginning their health journey, this is where we're all the same, right? We all need sleep. We all need macronutrients in different ratios. So that's going to be our proteins, that's going to be our carbohydrates, that's going to be our fats. We need those in different ratios. Those are the things that we need to take in through our diet because our body is not making these things by itself. For example, protein. There are 9 essential amino acids that the body has to get from food and 11 that it can create on its own. Are you getting enough protein in the sense of essential amino acids that your body needs to do things like repair? I just talked about someone who may have just come out of surgery. Okay, that person that just came out of surgery, their body literally needs to repair and rebuild. We need amino acids to do that, and the body cannot do it without that. It won't just automatically just repair. It doesn't work like that. It needs the tools in order to do that. Just like in order to talk to you right now, there are certain tools that I need to do that. I need to make sure that I have a headset. I need to make sure that I have a microphone. I need to make sure that I have a camera, or else I can't talk to you. I can go outside right now and talk, but it won't be talking to you. That's the way that we really need to approach our wellness. Where are you starting from? What are you starting with? And are you getting the base foundational things that your body requires and that God created it to need? So if you're going and say you are going to build a house, you're going to commission someone to build a house or contract someone, you would laugh if that person took you out to the site and they said, okay, we've got the ground clear, and we were thinking about putting windows right here and windows right there and maybe a door. You would think that this person was out of their mind, because you cannot build a house without walls. You cannot build a house without a foundation being put down first. And you certainly can't put windows in without first framing them for them to sit inside of something. But that's how we approach our health and wellness. We're like, oh, well, let me start with this window over here. I'll do keto. Let me start with this window or this door over here. I'll do intermittent fasting. Let's start with this. You know what? Let's start with the garage door. The garage isn't even framed out yet, but let's start with this garage door. And you know what? Let's just cut out all of this particular food group. That sounds crazy, right? It sounds like we don't have a good process in place. Like, whoa, 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 whoa. Let's go with a different contractor, because I need to see blueprints. I need a plan. I need to know the goals of how much square footage this is going to cover. Does this apply to me and my family's life? Is this enough room and space for us to do the things that our particular lifestyles have? So those are some of the things that we need to address before we start addressing the other things. So for some of you, you may have some things that are already going on in your body that hey, I'm having an issue here. I am having an issue with gut dysfunction. I am having an issue with my hormones. I am having a lot of skin breakouts. I don't sleep well at night. I crave sugar. All of these things are giving us a little bit of insight into what's going on in your body and what's out of balance. The body always wants to be in balance, right? Homeostasis. It wants to be at this place of really being being level, just as we were talking about that house. There needs to be a firm foundation. We at least need to know what we're building on top of. We need to know where we're starting. We need to know what season we're in. We shouldn't just go out and build a house in the middle of the rainiest season. We shouldn't just, like, literal season. We shouldn't just go out and start doing things that are going to cause us to work against what we're trying to build. If you're like me, you want to build wellness, you want to build a healthy lifestyle, you want to build within your life and what it actually looks like and the foundation of your body and what you're really starting with before you go and do all of these things like putting in windows and putting in garage doors and putting in a front door with no framing. A lot of people are frustrated with their health and their wellness because that's how a lot of people are approaching it. The certain modality, you can, like, let's take weight loss, for example. There are a million different ways to lose weight. And if this were not true, it would not be a multi-billion dollar industry. There are a million ways to do so many things. It does not mean that they are beneficial. It does not mean that they are going to be helpful to you. In scripture, I remember when Paul is talking about the different areas of the body and speaking specifically about, the hand can't say to the foot, I have no need of you, because all of it works together. Our body works together. And we have to say, you know what? Instead of drinking extra coffee today, let me focus on getting into a good deep sleep. Then we can work backwards now that we know that the goal is to get something done that the body actually needs to do, which is to sleep and to rest so that the body can repair. Okay, so now we can say, all right, here I am. It's 3 hours before I need to go to bed. There's certain things I probably should not do if I want to get into a good sleep and have quote unquote good sleep hygiene. There are certain things that I should probably not do if I want to sleep well tonight. So, say you are constantly tired and you drink a ton of caffeine or you drink several cups a day. The reason why you're drinking caffeine is so that you can be more alert or more awake, or, maybe you need to focus more because it helps you focus. Caffeine helps me focus. That's why I drink it. And I do a mold-free coffee because that's pretty important to me with the things that I particularly have issues with, which is histamine intolerance. See, I'm taking myself into account while I'm using something else. But let's take caffeine. If you are having caffeine past the hours of 11:30 a.m. or 12 p.m., coffee has a half-life, meaning that you are still going to be feeling the effects of coffee, even if you have, since dropped from that stimulant and you're not as alert as you were. It's wearing off and it's waning. It's still in your system. And caffeine, since it has a half-life, after, say you have that caffeine at 1 o'clock and you're trying to get to bed by, say, 8, that caffeine is still in your system up until 5 o'clock. So we've thrown off hormones because caffeine stimulates adrenaline. Adrenaline is what gives us that go, go, go feeling. So now keep that in consideration if you're saying, hey, I'm drinking coffee to stimulate me to be more awake or to be able to focus more or to feel like I'm awake, right? Feel, because you still didn't get the sleep. Your body's not crazy. Our bodies are very, very smart, even though we try to outwit it in some ways. It still needs sleep. Coffee is not a substitution for sleep. And then you're drinking the coffee so that you can feel more up and awake, but you're working against yourself because it's going to, if you're drinking it multiple times or later in the day, since it has a half-life and it's still in your system, by the time it's time for you to go to sleep, you don't get into a deep, restful sleep, which is the point of drinking coffee to begin with, is to feel like you have energy to substitute the fact that you didn't rest. And that's how a lot of us are approaching our wellness. We're not approaching it holistically. And when you don't approach your health and your wellness holistically, you can be like that person, like that contractor that thinks that a window is going to float without a frame or a door is going to float without a frame. And those foundations are not put in place. So before you think, oh, I want to lose weight, or oh, I want to, whatever your goal is, keep you in mind. That goal is secondary because the goal is to build a house, right? But that's secondary to first laying the foundation for that house to be able to stand. Those are some of the things that I like to encourage people on is to look at your life, the season of life that you're in, your wellness, your health, your nutrition. Once you have certain bits of information, now we can start eating in a way that's supporting your goals, but supporting your body, the function of it, the resilience of it, the healing of it, and getting in balance, because that is ultimately what the body wants. The body wants to be in balance. And we like to approach our health and our wellness from all of these very disconnected, disparate approaches, and we end up hurting the very thing that we are trying to help because we're not focused on what your specific body needs in particular. If you are someone who is tired of hitting their head against the wall, trying to put up windows without a frame or a house without the proper foundation, then I am here to encourage you and empower you in your wellness journey and holistically looking at your lifestyle and what it means for you to be healthy, what it means for you to be well, so that you can steward your wellness. This is not something that's going to happen by itself. It is not going to just happen by osmosis or by wishful thinking. This takes work, but the work is absolutely worth it. If you want to be in balance, if you want to jumpstart your wellness in a way that makes sense for you, considering your actual life, then be sure to schedule a free discovery call with me to see if we're a good fit and to see if I can be someone to help you along your pathway as far as really figuring out what it means for you to be your healthiest. You can do that by clicking the description below, or you can go to styleandstewardship.com/services and you can click on anything that makes sense to you, schedule a free discovery call, and we can see if we're a good fit so that you can start putting the right things in place, setting down the right foundations so you can be your healthiest and to steward your health and wellness on purpose. If this is something that is impactful for you, or you know someone who does not know where to start in their wellness, or they have tried all the things, or they just really want to get focused on their own particular life and take it intentionally, then please be sure to send them this. You can send them the audio podcast version. You can send them the video so that they can get into a place of really stewarding their wellness. I would love to help you or help them on their way. Until next time, your life matters. What you do with it matters. So what will you steward well? Peace.